Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces. If Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant/rising sign, then this is a message for you. Okay, let's get started. Okay. All right. Let's see, what do these tea leaves have to say tonight? And so our card for this reading is the Queen of Discs. As a Virgo, this is one of my favorite cards. Okay, and so this is kind of an archetype that is really that Earth Mother. Where we have the Princess of Discs who is pregnant with life. The Queen of Discs is more in her wisdom. She has partaken in those initial mysteries. She knows what she's doing, she knows what she wants, and she's gonna make that happen. One way or another. Alright, so let's see. This first symbol, I see maybe an adult person. It looks like they're wearing a robe or maybe a dress, and kind of hanging on to them is a small child. So this makes sense. This makes sense, right? We have that mother consciousness, protective, loving teaching. We have a heart. She is holding a heart in her hand. And we have what looks like maybe a dog kind of jumping up as well. So this is kind of a really loving, endearing, and enduring, hopefully, picture here. Okay. There's a lot of safety. I feel like you are in your life right now, Pisces, in a place that is of wholeness, or there's a movement towards a sacred space. Okay, there is a feeling of things being very holistic, holy, right? I almost kind of think of something like being in a cave or like a little nest, all warm and cozy, feeling protected, looked over, and safe. Almost kind of like sleeping in the womb, right? And I wonder if you have not had some of these dreams or kind of these instincts towards those motherly archetypes. Maybe you are one yourself. Maybe you are playing out that role. Maybe, you know, you are in your elder years. Your mother maybe is not with you anymore, but you have such a strong tie to that place where you felt so close to your parents, to your mother, to your grandmother. Feeling surrounded by people who look out for you, who would do anything for you, who brought you up, who taught you about the world, for better or worse, right? They tried though, didn't they? You know, and we all have our shortcomings. But I feel like, Pisces, you have been in a place where you really try to accept people for what they are, and you give them a lot of leeway. I think that you are definitely able to hold people accountable, but I don't think that you thrive, or it's not thrive. I don't think you cling to being angry about old things. I think that you're really good at looking something over, considering it, and realizing this is something I do not want to carry with me anymore. And I think that this is where that place of peace is really come about in your life, is that you know, I think it's easy, especially when you've been through painful things, you know, emotional things. If you don't have all of the information, or even if you do, but it's kind of skewed, right? It's easy for us to look at people and think of them as these very archetypal, good, bad, evil, nefarious, unhuman, whatever it is. And I think often the reality is, and this is not to dismiss how somebody behaves, especially if they've been abusive, but I think the reality is most people just are not good at being people. They're not good at taking care of other people. They're not good at making the right decisions. Consistency. You know, I think most of us are just kind of bouncing around through life, doing our best to not die, you know. And it takes a lot to be a very mindful person. I think most people are not very mindful. And so when we're affected by this, especially in our formative years, it's easy to think that people are, you know, they're worse than anything, that they, you know, they failed us. And in some ways they probably did. But I think there's a lot of freedom in coming to the understanding that, you know, it's just, most people just don't know what they're doing. Plain and simple. And, you know, unfortunately, a lot of us end up in households like that. We end up in relationships like that, marriages like that, being taught by people like that who are careless, maybe going through their own things. And so, you know, the best we can do, let's try to resolve some of those feelings, let them go. And, you know, in those cycles of generational abuse, neglect, I think that's the big thing. The neglect is some ways almost more of an atrocity in my mind. And I know, you know, it's a lot of times it's people just don't know better, or they don't know how to come outside of themselves emotionally. They don't know how to make a better life for their children, for the next generations. But that, you know, abuse is terrible. I'm not going to say it's not. It's awful. I am a product of it. But the neglect is so insidious. And so, you know, if we as beings, even if not with our own children, if we don't have children, I should say, if we can help break those cycles within our communities, if you work, you know, with other people, and it's not just with children, I mean, gosh, it is with our elders. I think that is the biggest group of vulnerable people who are neglected, are elderly people, our elders in our own communities. You know, and I feel like that is the best we can do, is try to break those cycles by showing up for our children, showing up for, you know, the children in our community, showing up for the people who are in vulnerable places, and for each other. Okay, you read this so often. We live in a world of people who are so lonely. Never have we been so connected, but never have people been so utterly alone. You know, and I don't want to go off on too much more of a tangent, but I feel like you are in a place where you are feeling whole. There is a sacred nature to how you are living. You are somebody who could smile upon another, maybe just by listening, sharing a little bit of your time with them. You know, being of service to one another is maybe the most important thing we can do in our life. Even, you know, coming from me, who I'm scared of people. I mean, quite literally. I have social anxieties, general anxieties. You know, I feel like I'm going to crawl out of my skin when I'm around people I don't know. And it's not always been like that, but it's developed into that. But I also know it is my duty. It is my duty, you know, to find a way to overcome some of that, so I can be there for people, so I can listen, so I can love, live by example where I can. Not that I'm any kind of perfect person, but I will put myself in uncomfortable situations, you know. And, you know, it's kind of all of our duty in some way. Let's see, what else do we have going on here? This one is interesting. It looks... I thought, oh, is that a mushroom? I was thinking, you know what it reminds me of? I'm looking at it. It reminds me of a carousel with the animals that, you know, kind of go around in a circle, and kind of this, the music is so wild, almost absurd, almost kind of demented, a little demented maybe, but I feel like, you know, there's a sense of that carnival, and I feel like sometimes, you know, going in those circles, it almost feels, you look at things and you think, is this a dead end that I've found myself in my life? You know, is there room to expand, to grow, to evolve? But I think that, you know, oftentimes we miss the fact that we find ourselves in these places because it is a refuge for us to heal. And healing is a miracle. Even if it feels like we are not moving forward, we are not creating more. Sometimes we just have to dig into the dirt, you know, lay still and let ourselves heal. And that in itself is is a miracle. Okay? So, I feel like in this wholeness, you know, there's this sense of restlessness at times. I feel like you want to break free of it. And I think that you will, of course. You're not going to be stuck here forever. But I think that you are fortifying. You are growing. You are going through a transitional period. You are going through a metamorphosis. Okay? So be kind to yourself. Go slow. Take your time. You might have, you know, like that monkey, the wind-up monkey with the little, you know, doing the, what is that, a drum or a tambourine, hitting it together. Cymbals. I think they're doing cymbals. That might be going on in your head, doing flips, the carousel, going around in circles. But be slow with yourself. Take time. Take your time. Okay, so we also have and it looks almost like two dragons meeting. Okay, so I feel like, and we have also, it looks like a dog. It reminds me of the dog enchanted by the moon. And so I feel like in these moments of where things are swirling, you know, it almost is like you're ready to just, you know, go into a state of maybe irritability, anger, rage, something to just shake yourself out of it. But I challenge you to, you know, really just to sit in that discomfort a little bit. Don't let that anger of, you know, not moving fast enough take over. Put those restless feelings into something else. I know that you've been working hard, you know, working on monetary things, creative projects, your relationships in your life. I think that, you know, a movement towards some kind of pleasurable thing, be that physical, emotional, spiritual, allowing yourself to indulge to some degree, I think that that will alleviate some of that restlessness. You know, I think that instead of moving around aimlessly just to get this energy out, finding something more intentional that you find pleasurable. Okay? And with the dot, it's just it's enchantment, right? And I think that beware of the enchantment. Don't get stuck on something that is compulsive, meaningless, superficial, leaves you feeling depleted of your vitality. So find something that, you know, is healing in that pleasure, that is meaningful, that there is, you know, something there for you. Okay, and then this one, I was like, it looks like a face with a mustache, the two eyes and the mustache. And I don't know. I think it's just kind of, as I'm looking, it seems kind of like, for some reason it feels like the Watcher, and it feels, oh, and we have a bone up here. Let's see. We have a bone right there. I almost feel like, yeah, as I look at this, it just feels silly. There's like a kind of silliness. I think comedy, maybe something, something that makes you laugh. That might be something pleasurable for you. And then as I'm looking at this one, I'm seeing we have a person who is kind of it almost looks like pregnant, okay? And then there's some kind of animal here, maybe a dog. So I feel like, and we were looking at this, it looked like a dragon on this side, but upright, it looks like a person who is maybe pregnant, or this is kind of that creative fertility, okay? Pregnant with life, creativity. And then we have, it looks like maybe, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing a dog. So somebody who is very loyal to you, maybe having some kind of creative endeavor together. Or maybe you're having a child together. Maybe there's a grandchild coming. I don't know. But there's a lot of, there is a fixed union there. Okay. I think that is, really an everlasting thing. It does not, when we see the dog, especially in line with the fertility, it makes me think, yeah, this is like a very loyal, not a dog like, sneaking around being a dog of a person, but the loyalty, the undying loyalty, and unification. Okay, so we have a goddess figure here. Okay, and so another fertility symbol. Also with the Queen of Discs, I just feel it is like those fertile soils. And we have a lot of this kind of, it looks like dripping. So I do think that this is kind of like that creative mana. And in that divine feminine consciousness mixed with that kind of, the nectar of the gods, it makes me think that, there is such a sweetness to all this for you. I feel like, when you are in a place like this, it's like you're walking around with an aura of, light around you. You are, you meet every situation with gratitude to some degree. It feels wonderful. A lot of like kind of dopamine type feeling. It's a nice place to be in. So make use of it. Okay. Don't squander that, and, create something, whatever it is. If you have a medium, or if you are not, if you're somebody who doesn't do a lot of, crafts or art or whatever, go on to like one of those Pinterest things or something. Go find something and just make it. Try it. Go get the things or use what you have and see how it feels to take the time for yourself to just kind of, even if you're just like, one thing I found that I like doing is just shredding up paper and gluing it. My daughter likes to do it. And, when I'm helping her, I found that it's a lot of fun just making these kind of weird composite images, mosaic type things. Just try something. Okay. All right, let's see. We have the water blessings affirmation cards. And of course, these are the water element. And we'll just kind of pull these up here and we'll go ahead and kind of stop where it feels right. Okay, and this one is Energy Relay. Create a simplicity in life with a deeper connection to your naturalness. And I think that this is really kind of very much in alignment with this earthiness, with this wholeness and holistic, creating a sacred space, feeling like you're kind of in, you know, that place of incubation. Okay. And I think really the big work here is surrendering to that without feeling too wound up, like you're not doing enough right now. You know, sometimes we need to just be in that place where, you know, we feel a little inactive, but we are drawing on those energies and kind of collecting them. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such a pleasure and an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it is so helpful for us to get into the algorithm. The algorithm really kind of decides what happens with the channel, with the videos, how far out they go, how much reach they have. And so we like to make the algorithm happy with the engagement that it wants. And that is things like liking the video, sharing the readings on other social media platforms, watching the readings from the beginning to the end. Of course, you don't have to do any of these things, but I figure if you get this far and you're still watching the end, you might be more inclined to want to support the channel in some way, and these are some of the best ways to do that. If you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell when you subscribe and it will let you know when the next videos are coming out. Other than that, if you want to leave a comment, please do. I read all of them and I reply back to all of them. So sometimes it takes me a day or two, but I really do love getting comments and reading them and replying to them. It's one of my favorite parts of having a YouTube channel, really. I get to connect with all sorts of people. All right, I'm going to go ahead and say thank you again, and we will talk in just a few days. Thank you. Bye-bye.